Good afternoon and welcome to the June 2nd meeting of the Parks and Public Works Committee. We have our members here, which are council members Dan Murphy and Brian Holloway, as well as the mayor, director Jeff Hamlin from Parks and Public Works, and project manager Dylan Gamble. And then Andrew is taking care of IT for us today. So looks like we have our full roll. First item on the up is the agenda approval. Any amendments or updates on this? You had a motion to, I heard.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda. So we will then go on to public comments. Don't see anybody in the audience today. So I think we will also close public comment since no one's stepping forward. Then next up is approval of our minutes. We've got two versions for approval. The first is minutes dated May 5th, 2026. Any issues or concerns with those? No? Okay, we'll pass those on for approval. And next is the minutes dated May 19th, 2026. There was some notes in there, it looked like from our administrative assistant, Rebecca Solom, that she had questions, and I don't think she got to go back and listen to, it was like she had some notes to herself about the May 19th one. So I just wanted to make sure she went back and looked at them, but otherwise we can pass them forward and approve them. And then we roll into agenda bills. We have Agenda Bill 26-030, approval to execute contracts for previously appropriated capital projects. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute contracts for previously appropriated capital projects as identified on Exhibit A. And the proposed motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing execution of contracts and related agreements for capital projects. And I believe we are going to be getting some additional information on this.
Yes. Is this working? Yeah, it is. Okay. Good afternoon. I do not have a presentation to give, so there's no PowerPoint that I'll be going through. So the materials attached as the agenda are the materials for this evening. This is a resolution requesting the ability to execute contracts. As you are probably aware, the code has some requirements for when a contract is allowed to be executed. We have an appropriated budget. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. We have a budget that is adopted, and then we have appropriated the money within that budget. So we can review those materials. That's one of the attachments on here. I'm sorry.
No, we're just going to scroll down to.
Okay. And effectively what this agenda bill is seeking to do is request the ability to approve contracts listed in the Exhibit A.
Are the contracts attached?
The contracts are not attached, no.
Some of the capital
Are they in
improvements.
existence?
The contracts, in this case, yes, there is a contract that is in existence, partially.
Go down a little further. We'll
So
go.
wait, whoa. It's a yes, no, not a
No,
kinda.
there is no contract yet. There's a
Yep.
scope, but we haven't contract.
Some conceptuals.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, according to the authorization matrix,
Mhm.
what is the dollar figure on which the mayor is allowed to approve a contract without council approval?
In this case, it depends. Yeah, go ahead.
They're probably
Here.
not qualified to answer that. 50,000.
$50,000. And you're asking for pre-approval of 114 for a significant chunk more than that.
And these have already been approved and appropriated, is my understanding. It just allows, instead of losing the funding for projects after the biennium, is this correct, that we can still keep the funds for the designated projects?
Mayor's got his hand up.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Mayor, yes?
Yeah, let me try and
The
help.
lights
So,
are like in my face.
ah, is it those? Which one?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
these-
I'll get someone to refocus those. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I think they might have bumped them when they were doing this wall work is my guess, so we'll get that fixed. Yeah, so what we're trying to do here is in this last biennium for projects, the council changed how you do the appropriation. So in this appropriation, so what used to happen and what still happens for programs is that you would appropriate an amount for 2 years, and that appropriation expired at the end of 2 years. So if a project wasn't done at the end of 2 years, that would come back to you to say, okay, we need X amount to finish the project. You changed what you did in the last biennium. You now appropriate the entire life of budget amount for specific projects. So there's a set of about 20. There's an attachment that lists those out. So there's about 20 projects that you had project sheets that went into some, yeah. So whatever that adds up to, I was estimating 20. So for those projects, you had project outlines you discussed during your appropriation process, each of those projects, the budgets for them, and you appropriated those amounts for the entire life of those projects, however long those projects took. So for programs, any spending under programs, you still just gave a 2-year biennial budget. So for the projects, since you've approved those specific projects, their descriptions and their budgets, what we're coming back now is saying, okay, so now can we just go ahead and sign contracts up to that amount for that project that you already approved, so that we can just sort of proceed. The thinking being in the past, so in continuing, say, in the programs, you might want to look at, well, okay, we budgeted 2 million for this program. What are the contracts? What are you actually going to spend it on? It's a broad description, the programs. So there was sort of a purpose to going through a contract approval process with you. Given that you've changed how you did the contract approvals for projects, life of project, and you've specified what the project is, the thought was, okay, well, then can we just go ahead and sign contracts up to, not to exceed, same rule as before, the amount that you've already authorized for that project that you've already defined.
Councilmember Holloway.
How we appropriate, so even under the prior system, we appropriated money, the contract still came back under that biennial for approval. This is a gross overreach of authorization. So I vehemently, you can tell, disagree with this, that those contracts still need to come back to the committee and to council for approval as long as they are beyond the spending limit of the authorization matrix for directors and mayor. How the money gets appropriated is separate from how the money gets contracted. They are related but separate. You've construed them together to give you authorization for contract. Disagree.
Yes, Mayor.
If we could observe decorum, I think that would be very much appreciated. There's nothing gross about this. We're coming back and asking you. I'm sorry, Chair, do I have the floor?
Certainly, sir.
We're coming back and asking you This is a discussion. There's nothing gross about a discussion. Secondly, this is how every city does it, that appropriates in the manner you switch to appropriating. Nobody's trying to do anything other than streamline the process and continue to follow your direction, your authorization, spending level authorizations, and try to clean up some very cumbersome administrative responsibilities that really are not adding any value. We're just doing the thing you told us to do. So no one's trying to pull any fast one on you. It's just trying to streamline things.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I'm, and I'm kind of just wrapping my head around and getting up to speed on this. I'm a little confused though on, I see Exhibit A, the source of supply improvement project that is like the single line item there. And then I see the next page with the capital project budget table. And then we go back to the water project again on page 12. Can you help me understand how they all weave together with all of this? Because are we, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, no, great question. We actually, we got a little bit caught up in PDFing.
Okay.
We were trying to highlight things. So let me kind of walk you through that. If we could go to Schedule A, which had one row on it, that'd be great. Sorry, actually, let's stop at this schedule. So scroll. This schedule is what the council passed in their appropriation. So this is what you appropriated. And as you can see at the top right, estimated life of project uses. So what that used to say, and what it says in programs, is biennial budget. So this was life of project uses, and those were the amounts that you included in your appropriation. Now, if we scroll down towards the bottom, the second from the bottom item is source of supply improvement project. The amount that was appropriated was $1,548,000. So now if we scroll up to Appendix A, or Schedule A, I think it might be called, that is the same item, source of supply improvement project, $1,548,000. That's what we're asking for your authorization to sign contracts for. Now, if we scroll down, keep going, yep. Now, this is one of the many, I don't know, 50 or so project pages that were presented to you during the budgeting process. This is what you went through, the project description, the budget. If we scroll down, we can see when the project spending is anticipated to occur. So this is what was presented. As you can see, in this case, it goes out through 2026. Some of the projects go out longer than that and start later. So they might start, say, in 2026. In any event, this is what was presented to you. Now, the thing that's a little bit interesting to me is if we scroll down, or there, we can see the total. The total here, is there anything below that? I just want to make sure I'm not missing things. Yeah, okay. So below is just some information on how that was anticipated to be funded. But this total, the total spending item of $1,807,000. $1,807,000 is not what you appropriated. You appropriated, let's go back up. Wait, oh, sorry, let's just start there. No, yeah, 1,807,644, you can see on the right in the middle. That's what was on this sheet. So we haven't changed the sheet. This is what you saw when you did the appropriation approval. So let's scroll up. Keep going, back to the schedule. Yeah, this is what you appropriated, 1,548. And so that's what we're coming to request from you tonight, only contract authorization for that which you have already appropriated for the project that you already approved it for with that description.
The 1,548,000.
Correct. And let's just show that again. Let's go to Schedule A so we see that that's what is included in the request. So that's what is being requested.
Yes, Councilmember Murphy.
So quick follow-up. So just so I'm clear, and I think this is the answer, but this new process you're proposing is only for this project, not for, or is it also to be carried through going forward for all capital projects going forward?
Yes, Mayor.
We're only asking for your permission tonight for this project in this amount. Any other project still has, still requires your contract authorization, contracting authorization. So we'd come back to you for any other and every other project, even on this list.
Yes.
So that actually has spurred another question. Can you help me understand or help us understand what about this project requires the authorization that you're seeking? Would love to kind of better understand that.
Yes, Mayor.
So a couple things. As we were planning for this, we thought there would be 3 projects we'd be bringing you tonight. So that's how this was originally sort of teed up. There's only one that is imminently ready to go out to bid and go through the contracting process. Let's see, what else did you ask? So we're just asking for contract. So the idea is, if we have your contracting authority, we put it out to bid. Assuming the bid comes in within the appropriation, we would sign a contract for not to exceed this amount, but whatever the low bid was, we go through the normal process. And we would go ahead and execute that contract. So the idea is, there's nothing new in the process of coming back to you with a bid that is for this project and is within this appropriation. Just let us go ahead and sign the contract and move on. As opposed to, say, programs or other things where you may have appropriated 2 million, but it's for streets. You might wonder, well, which streets and what kind of work are you doing on? So there we're going to come back and say, okay, here's the things that we're asking for your authority on. In this case, it's just going to be for the exact same thing that is already listed here. So it's trying to streamline the contracting process.
Yes, Councilmember Hall.
Okay, project description. The project will study methods to procure additional sources of water supply and increase capacity sources. My question is this for the study? What are the additional sources? Because I'm concerned that 1.2 million of this was construction cost. So I assume all the study stuff is before construction costs. So what is that? What's it for? To include but not limited to implementation of aquifer storage project, are you actually asking tonight to proceed on the aquifer storage? What are you asking to proceed on specifically? Because this project statement of work says there'll be a study that will come back. The council will implement the recommendations of the study. We'll move on, and there may be this aquifer storage project in here, which is the $1.2 million. So what are we approving tonight beyond the vague description that's written here?
So if I could help clarify the answer.
Yes, Mayor.
So if I understand the council member correctly, what he's trying to drive at is, what will you do next? What will we do next? So is the next contract a construction contract for the full amount? Is it a construction contract for 1.2? Is it just a study? In which case, does the contract that we ultimately sign depend on the study? He's trying to understand what happens, if I'm understanding him correctly, what happens next? And I suspect that what he's trying to drive at is there a decision point that changes the scope of contract here such that council might want to stay involved in that decision-making? Or is this just something that's just going out to construction now? Help him understand what the next steps are and what's going to happen.
Do you want to?
Can you scroll down to the page with the picture on it, please?
So what's next? So I guess I'll start where we're at right now. So a lot of this is for ASR, but it also includes some additional support for our existing water sources to either improve or maintain. The next thing is actually, I would say, professional support. So we need to, one, submit and tend to what's called a reservoir permit so that we can store water underground. We have, we're currently putting together an application to get this reservoir permit, which we will submit to ecology. There's a fair bit of back and forth. We're through the feasibility study, the pilot testing and all that, but we still need to finish up the modeling and submit our application for the reservoir permit. At that point, there'll be a negotiation with ecology where we determine how much water we can actually store underground and how much we can get back from what we store. And then there is a period of monitoring, which goes on for a few years. And so what we are asking to do right now is to get a contract, because we're almost, the old contract is over, and it's already been amended a couple of times. We want a new contract. We want to use Geosyntec because they're the ones who have done all the work for this. And we can't really change horses in midstream, but we'll bring that to you with a good justification for a new contract. And I don't have, they're working on a scope right now for that work. There's also going to be some additional geotechnical evaluation and monitoring for our issues with the slope stability up at Canyon Springs. And then there will be some additional work that's needed at Canyon Springs for our spring boxes. And then there's also the South Well Field, which needs additional study to determine whether or not we, need to do improvements or if ASR will fix the problems that we have there. So there's a lot of things where we need this professional support, and we would like to move forward with that.
Could I just
Councilmember
clarify the
Murphy.
answer before?
Councilmember Murphy.
Could I clarify?
I guess that where, maybe this is where the mayor could provide clarity, but I thought you said you'd bring, what would you bring back to us? Because I thought the purpose of this is to, where we're going to see less. You're not going to bring it back to us. So help me understand that.
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, sorry, Director Hamlin, if I could just try and understand what you just said. So this project, I'm looking at a project description. Is all of the things you described fit within this project description?
Oh, geez, I don't know. Let me see. No.
Because it sounds to me like you're describing things beyond the scope of this project description.
I think when we created that project description, that was several years ago, where we didn't actually know where we were going with the ASR.
Right, but just as a yes, no answer, if the work that you're planning to have done is not the same as this, then it would seem to me the council would say, well, hold on. If you're changing the scope, all we authorized was this scope. So if you're doing some different scope, you need to come back and talk to us about that before we authorize that.
Sure.
Why would they? It seems like they should perhaps conclude that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this should be withdrawn, and instead something should be brought to them that describes the actual scope of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
What?
So let
Okay.
me-
Yeah. Go ahead. I mean,
I know we've done some, the aquifer storage and recovery. There's been some work done on this already in the last few years.
Yeah, if I may, just to kind of jump in, the work that Jeff's proposing or discussing, he took you down the full path where we're going to probably eventually end up. The work that we know we're going to be doing in the next, within the year, anything that we've talked about tonight is within the scope that is presented here. But we will probably be having a conversation about how it impacts the rest of our water systems. That is going to happen. We do not know what that looks like at this moment because we have not completed this work. So when Jeff mentioned other projects you heard and the other capital projects, that would be kind of like the ripple effect from the consequences of this work. So yes, there are other capital projects. Jeff did talk about them. We might end up in that conversation later, but from this work, we wouldn't.
So
If it's
Yes, Mayor. Then.
So let me get
Councilmember
clear.
Holloway.
If we, let's see, let's scroll down to where the dollar table is. All right, so this lays out some pieces for analysis, design, construction. Can we clarify contracts that we anticipate signing? You use the time period of the rest of the year? Whatever time period you just said.
Longer than it- Yeah,
No, you said a shorter time period.
the contracts we're going to initialize.
All right, contracts we're going to initialize in 2026.
Right.
This is my question. Does it include construction? Does it include design? What exactly do you anticipate doing under this in 2026? Contracts you anticipate us signing in 2026 solely within the description of this project?
Sure. I feel like what we're going to accidentally run into is that the best term for it might be construction, but that the work we're doing is not really construction. So the money here is identified in the construction category, but the work is a lot of field testing
It's
and analysis and permitting and associated work. So it's a combination of,
Will you dig it? So analysis, which is what I heard you just describing.
yes, yeah.
Do you anticipate
Those
spending more
dollars-
than 388,000 for that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So this estimate is becoming incorrect from when it was proposed to now.
Councilmember Holloway.
I asked fellow council members, can you describe to me what Geosyntex will do in support of this? If you can't, what are you approving? Other than a blank account to write things against.
I know this is all regarding our water study for the next 20 years, and that some things have been started on that we need to find additional water sources. Geosyntex, I know, is a consulting group that has assisted with some of the other studies that have been done in the past, because I've heard the name before.
Understood, and I've heard aquifer storage before. It's what are we being asked to approve tonight? What will Geosyntex do in response to this?
I
I
do,
don't think we can answer that question.
I do-
Therefore, I don't know what I'm being asked to approve, and therefore I don't approve it.
well, and I think what we need to do is, since this is obviously a few years old, is update the scope of the appropriation request, just for clarification for council to better understand. Councilmember Murphy.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe we need to sharpen our pencils on this one. I don't think, I don't think I have a good understanding, to be honest. And I think in theory, I mean, and partially the contracting process gets us closer, right? To how the money's being spent, how the projects are going out the door. And I think maybe this isn't the best example of how maybe we should depart from that, or maybe we need to come back and, some of these questions might have a little more clarity kind of going forward, but I'm not sure that it's ready from my perspective tonight.
Do you feel that there is a timeline, a pressing timeline right now as far as getting some contracts?
Yes, there is, because the existing contract is running out. They're on fumes at this point, and they'll be going out on the ice here fairly soon. And I don't want to, have contract or a consultant working without a contract, right? So we do want to get this sorted out. They're working on a scope right now. We'll have a scope and a fee and a genuine proposal with a contract to bring forward.
Is it possible to get a preliminary, like for our next meeting, our next Parks and Public Works
If we,
meeting?
I don't know if I can get it done that quickly, but I'll try.
As far as being able to get the contract done in a timely fashion? is
Yeah, it
what-
takes a while. It's a complicated scope, and there's some goes back and forth when we're working on scopes and fee proposals.
Okay. Sir?
Two things, just to be clear to everyone in the room. No contractor is to exceed spending. You issue stop work orders. You do not exceed spending that this council has not authorized. Okay, that there is not a contract in place, and if a contract amendment's needed, that this council has approved. So I just want to be crystal clear, that's not going to happen. I don't know if that's happened in the past. That will not happen while I'm the mayor. Number two, I think that what we can do is, if you would allow us to withdraw this tonight, we'll come back to you in 2 weeks. My suspicion is that what we'll come back to you with is a request for a subset of spending authorization with some more clarity around what that would be for, and allow you to kind of therefore approve know what you're approving and be able to decide if you want to approve that or not. So if that would be okay, I propose that we withdraw this tonight and bring it back to you in 2 weeks in a revised form.
In either 2 weeks or the meeting following, when you can get the scope together for that, as long as we're keeping up with the timeline that you anticipate for this.
Yeah.
That would be great. Also, just a follow-up on the ecology permitting and such, is that, I know there was some work going on with the aquifer study with them as far as some very good results that were initially coming in. Is this all part of that scope of a study that's going on?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Councilmember Holloway.
So would like to say that based what we did tonight, I believe demonstrates that the burdensome review by council has some benefit. And I will advise you, I will not authorize pre-approval of expenditures beyond the authorization matrix. Just one vote, I may get outvoted, done before, happen again, but based on what was demonstrated tonight, no. Guys, my intention is that the contracts come back, contracts below the authorization level of the matrix, come to committee and come to council. Sorry.
Any other follow-up?
I guess I'll just say, look forward to seeing what the administration will present to us in a couple of weeks and see where we are at that point. And we'll go from there, from my perspective.
Yeah. I know this is something that's been kind of in the works for a bit, and that certainly things have changed as far as some of the priorities and such. So we'll definitely look forward to getting the information back and going forward with this. Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sirs. All right. Next up is some discussion. Oh, very nice presentation on the Stellar Park conversion to a dog park.
I was just gonna go through it in PowerPoints.
Yeah, the PDF.
We'll do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. So while we're waiting, I can kind of do the quick introduction here. So as you are probably all aware, we do lots of park planning and thinking and considerations for how to best use all of our open space, park spaces, facilities, etc. And we have lots of them. We have lots of space, and we have lots of ideas about future uses, and the world changes around us, and we kind of need to adapt and change and meet that demand. Part of what this conversation is a proposal to actually modify an existing use, which is a ball field. If you don't mind clicking on to the next one for me real quick, and convert it into a dog park. Yep, there, thank you. So to situate yourself, this is Stellar Dog Park from an aerial view. If you've been there, you've probably seen the playground in the bottom right-hand corner, and you can kind of see the field. It doesn't have, the standard full ball field features where you have packed dirt mounds and things of that nature. This is more, would suggest you think of it more in alignment with like a smaller T-ball type structures. It has a backstop, and then the fields kind of are open up, and there's a trail that's on the left side kind of going north-south. Our proposal, which is kind of based on lots of feedback that we heard from the PROS plan, which I will jump us to in a bit, which is our Parks, Recreation, Open Space, and Trails plan. Kind of indicated this desire for additional dog parks and facilities. Right now, we currently have one formal dog park, which is in downtown. It's actually kind of near Centennial. It's called Three Forks Dog Park. It's pretty expansive, pretty big, but there is no facilities on the ridge. Pretty frequent and common feedback we receive is the desire for that. We have attempted some smaller kind of pop-up structures, but those aren't the same as anything like Three Forks or anything that would be formal in nature. So this proposal is to make a formalized dog park. So we would fence off the field, as you see here, the red line. We would add, I'm not exactly sure what you call this, but I've been nicknaming it a doggy foyer. So there's little double doors to for people to kind of bring their dogs in, shut the gate before they enter the second gate, of course. Kind of make it safer for people coming in and out of the dog park.
It's kind of like prison, right?
It's-
When you have to
I
go through the
I like to think the
portals.
foyer
yeah.
really elevates the intensity of that rather than a doggy prison with a prison gate. Yeah. And then a couple of additional access gates to the trail, which is what we believe a major access point for people kind of getting to this site. Do you mind clicking on the next one?
Does the
Oh, sorry.
fencing around it already exist?
No, it doesn't. So actually, maybe take me back a sec. So all the red lines that are there, not fenced, no fencing. And we wouldn't be able to utilize any fencing except we would connect to the backstop. We would leave the backstop in place. It's a sort of kind of chain link fencing as it is. It's a bit thicker and stronger, but we would kind of connect to it, leave it in place. And then we would add all the red fencing to, enclose the field. Okay, now you can click the next one. Thank you. So this is a list of those proposed changes. I more or less went through all of them for you, but I'd like to call attention that we would want to add some dog waste bins. That's a really big deal. Some water fountains that have the dog bowls and basically a way for people to take care of their dogs when they're utilizing the playground. So there's a couple of additional necessities that would kind of come about as part of this expansion. And then the obvious one is that we would be proposing to remove a ball field that is currently in existence in the city, and it has in the past been used, but we see not very much use, especially in the last several years. Historically, it was used by a T-ball league, but that hasn't happened in the last few years. I think 3 is my last recollection. And then for reservations, this has been used by the YMCA to do temporary day use, but we have several fields that we believe are equivalent, and this was just a choice that they picked based on our staff's recommendation to the YMCA when they asked what fields they could use. So we don't feel that this field is, we're not losing something by turning this into a dog park. We believe that the use as a dog park would be more beneficial to the citizens than the very irregular reservations. So I just do want to call attention to that because a change in use like this is going to have impacts. But when we did the review, we didn't think that it was sufficient to not bring it forward, but it is something to consider. Lastly, I have a price here, anticipated costs. There are likely to be, I have cost for fencing that I started with, and then I've kind of worked my way through these additional changes, and things start to add up, and this is what I believe it will be after tax. But further numbers to come. And then there's one more page, but I can sense a question.
Just that with, well, actually 2 questions. One is that with putting in the like water supplies and stuff like that, is there already existing water lines there as far as?
There's a bathroom there. Yeah.
Oh, there is, okay.
Yeah.
And is it something when there's a change of use like this that we would have to give any kind of like notice on the city website as far as this is being proposed and or anything along that line?
Absolutely. If you don't mind jumping to the next one, I'm not sure if I address it here. No, but I can explain it. So this is the first touch point. So we've obviously reviewed it and considered the consequences. We've talked with the mayor and talked to our field crews and our reservation staff to kind of see what are the impacts that we know about and how to impact it. We, of course, know the background about the requests from the public. And then now we are bringing it to committee and to council if you so choose. And then we would like to start to have this kind of public phase where we bring it to the public, notice it physically on site with a QR code to this proposal as we presented it to you on our city website. So a bit of that outreach next steps. I can tell you that there are quite a few of the, I guess you'd say dog walkers, dog citizens that have dogs and use them and play with them. And they're very excited about anything that will be dog park related that will grab onto this and do half of the campaigning for us. So, but yes, that is the next steps.
Councilmember Holloway.
So where's the $65,000 coming from?
It comes from mostly the parks or playgrounds replacement program, and then partially from the trails due to some of the impacts to trails. So those two programs.
So what's coming off those programs to free up $65,000?
The programs are kind of done in a hierarchy of need. So essentially the worst fitting playground, and then we replace the structures with it. We don't propose to take anything off. It's just things have gotten delayed in the process. There's also this issue where we have money set aside for parks and playgrounds replacement, but we also have turf, fields, and lots of facility work that happens in the playground replacement fund that this kind of work is more indicative of. So not directly just always playgrounds, but surfacing, other facility improvements. So this is kind of a park improvement as we see it.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
We're not removing anything. We have reprioritized based on the Prost plan. So this is the planned work based on the Prost. So we're not removing anything off of the,
You're delaying some things.
well, I wouldn't say we're delaying anything. We kind of reprioritized once we did the Prost. And when we did the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Plan, we got a new priority list and we adjusted our funding to meet that new plan.
What we have here is that Prost plan. I just pulled some of the sections from it. What you see here on the left is just a ranking of requested features in our parks and open space facilities. There's quite a few here, obviously, in different rankings. We had first, second, thirds. It gets kind of complicated. As if you haven't reviewed that recently, take a look. There's quite a few of these charts that kind of jump into a lot of these details. I just brought them here so that it was quicker for the research phase of it. And then, yeah, just scattered throughout a couple pictures of dog parks and, yeah, to capture the idea. So that is our status. And then, yes, we kind of jump to the next steps, which would be public noticing, unless there is, a councilmanic request not to do so or to adjust that priority.
I do have a question regarding the Three Rivers, dog park. Has there been any like lessons learned that you would apply to this new park as far as how it's set up or structured or anything
got
like
some.
that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think the first one is don't do custom built doggy foyers over bridges. They become a thing to repair over time. The second one would be have sufficient fencing, and if elk are going to destroy it, be very aware that elk are going to do that. The other one would be that dogs have an impact on like grass and trails and things like that, and to make sure that we're not cohabitating the space with a trail, for example. So
Okay.
those are mine.
I would say that they're two completely different dog parks. One's kind of the backcountry dog park, where there's elk and it's rough.
Yeah.
Right. And it's got natural geographic constraints to it. Right. This one here is on the ridge and it's a lot more constrained. It's a little bit more buttoned up. If the one thing that we get asked about more than I think anything in the parks is when are we going to get a dog park on the ridge? We
Yeah.
get it all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And so we've been working on trying to find the right location. And this is the best. I mean, that little baseball field never gets used except for people throwing balls for dogs. Frisbees, right? I mean, that's what it's used for now. And it's got parking. It's in a walkable location. There's not a lot of houses right around it. It's kind of surrounded by trees. It's a little bit isolated, and
Yeah.
it seems like it's the best use for that.
Kind of
space.
ticks all the boxes and
Yeah.
as far as that goes, yeah. How about like I know with the downtown dog park, the people that frequent the dog parks, which I'm not one of them, because there's too much policing sometimes by some of the other dog owners, but have you folks gotten any feedback as far as like rules and regulations like that, or do we have to even post things like that, or?
We do post rules.
We're probably going to take the same set of rules we have for Three Forks. There is a set of rules there. Whether people read them or whether they create new ones that they try to enforce, it's just person to person. It gets a little out of our wheelhouse, but we do have a set of rules.
Okay,
They're pretty comprehensive. It's
Mhm.
quite the list.
okay, okay. Councilmember Murphy.
Real quick, so I want to make sure we have time for TIP. The like, do dog parks can they just go on that grass? Is that grass going to turn into like mush? And I know a lot of dog parks are like gravel or they're like more hard packed ground. So does that factor in at all in terms of the selection of this place? And could that be an issue with Stellar Park versus other locations that you guys have evaluated?
Yes. So what we are proposing to do now is maintain it as a grass field, still mow it and still maintain it as we are now, and then kind of see if we have major impact. We believe that the grass will stay green and mowable and manageable, and that we won't have too much destruction or chaos. It's a possibility. We don't know, but we do not want to propose an entire gravel lot there as an alternative.
So it's a relatively dry field with good drainage.
Relatively
I think
dry.
so, yeah.
It's kind of in the shade a little bit, so it might be soft, but I think that there's turf adjustments or turf, there's things we can do to toughen up the turf if we need to.
Yeah.
Right. And then two, we don't know yet what kind of traffic we're going to get there. So it depends a lot on how much traffic we get and the traffic patterns. Where are they all going to be congregating and doing their thing? So I know we'll see. We'll play it by ear, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of options for us to manage it so that it stays, somewhat hygienic.
I think it's going to get a ton of use. I think it's going to be,
Oh, yeah.
oh, well, yeah, it's going to be packed.
Is there going to be action figure toys there as well too?
Action figure, maybe.
One more, please. Just, no, we do not have any
We're
current
gonna-
plans. Yeah, we will have to look into that one.
Dog park toys.
Memorabilia, yeah.
All right, can we take this forward to council for some additional discussion and then next steps going forward?
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, that's good. All right, then next up is a presentation on the 27 to 33 Transportation Improvement Plan. Oh, the tip. Dylan, it's the tip.
Favorite season. Do you mind giving the presentation again for me? Okay. You can jump to the second slide. So I'll go quick here. This is a presentation that is essentially the background, the understanding the backbone of what is the TIP. So first and foremost, we call ours a TIP. It's a 6-year transportation improvement plan. We adopt it yearly. It's a requirement, state law requirement. The only thing I just hazard a guess, or not hazard a guess, but hazard a suggestion is to be aware that the state has a state TIP and they call that a STIP. And ours is a 6-year TIP, and sometimes people actually use the same terminology, but they are different. In fact, PSRC has one as well. That's a kind of multi-county version of it. So there's quite a few of these things, and they kind of all play a role to each other. So just be aware of that as we go through. Like I said before, we update it yearly. We will be kind of discussing it in the same context in which we think about budgeting and financing projects. But you should know that this is not a financially constrained document. It is a planning document. So what I mean by that is the numbers don't have to tally up to a budgeted amount that we have in city budgets or in our 6-year or otherwise, even further out. That's important to know because we will have projects on here that will obviously supersede our funding capacities at the time. So just be aware of that. And then the most important part is just the turnaround time and kind of the next steps. So if you don't mind sliding down to the next thing here. Okay, so I'll get to the timelines later, but what I guess we can start with right here is what is going on, what's happening. So if we do it yearly, That means that there's a list of transportation projects that we are proposing to do in a short period of time. Some are medium, some are very long-term. Right now, with the year-over-year changes, I have taken our past version that was adopted by council last year. I have removed the projects that were completed, and I have kind of maintained the past version's adoption. So I didn't, redo anything too substantially, but obviously when you remove items from a list, the ranking and the order changes. So I just want you to be aware of that. This is the list of the things I did. It's just a draft proposed version that I believe is in alignment with the past adopted tip, just to try to help speeden the process for you all. And then within the document, you'll see both versions, the 2026 adopted, the 27. I don't have the map updated yet because I wanted to make sure that council was okay with the 2027 through 2032 tip before I created a map. Do you mind going to the next slide? Yes, this is the next step part I wanted to discuss. So in state law, it requires the cities to adopt a tip yearly. That deadline for adoption is June 30th. So we have not this council meeting that you'll see next week, but the one following. So 3 weeks out from today. In order to adopt it, any tip, any transportation improvement plan, we have to have a public hearing. Public hearing notices require that they go out a few weeks before the public hearing itself, which we're proposing to do on the 22nd. So what I would like to request as part of this discussion is authorization to move forward with that public noticing, as it states here. So if approved, I would go and issue the public noticing tomorrow morning in preparation for that public hearing. And then I would like to showcase to you, and as part of the attachments here, the proposed 27 tip. You also can see the existing tip that we have and answer any questions about it. It's a lot, and so I feel free to jump in and ask as you see fit. I know some of us have worked with this several times, so.
Councilmember Holloway.
So you're of the opinion that the city's interest in the Highway 18 widening ended at Tiger Mountain Summit?
I took it off. I can add it back on, but I did it because I figured that was the project it was denoting. But any projects are open to my. I did it because I thought that was the intent of council at the time. I could be mistaken.
Well, I think it was more, it was easier commute into the city, and I'm just not sure between us and Tiger Mountain Summit, there's any commuters. Very few. That was really, we intended that to go on down and connect up to the rest of 18, which is already multi-lane.
Certainly. Yeah.
So there's still a section there that I think is of our interest to go ahead and have, at least keep the awareness up that it is in our interest that be widened up for us and North Bend and Tribe and whoever, that bottleneck be worked on. Not to mention it's a lousy road there.
So just keep it as a placeholder.
Oh, we have no funding or anything
Yeah.
else. It's more
And it's been
to
pushed,
communicate to the state of, we care about this.
yeah, it's
Okay.
pushed, it's been pushed back, but yeah, I
I'll bring it
feel
back.
that's fine. Yeah, that's great. Any other suggestions? Any concerns with him going forward and placing the announcement for the public hearing tomorrow?
With as early as they will notice it.
I have no concerns.
Okay.
No concerns, and I echo Councilmember Holloway's feedback about Highway 18.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If I may then bring, when we have our next Public Works Committee meeting, or the next time this is brought, I can make that adjustment.
Okay,
Is that,
that's fine.
all right?
Perfect.
Good.
And then it'll go forward to not this, but the following council meeting.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Super. I didn't have any additional questions. Anybody else? All right, then, any items for future discussion? Besides our standard placeholder? All right, how about, in the essence of time, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we are now adjourned at 5:54.